on the microphone.
Own it. Own it, yeah. Yeah, so I'm definitely excited to try this this American rye whiskey, but you just got this whiskey barrel. From West Bottoms Whiskey Company, and by golly, it was from Photo Day, from Burn the Gates Photo Day, when I joined the band, and not the barrel, but West Bottoms Whiskey. That's where we went afterwards to grab a drink and try out this new place that is new to us anyway. That's kind of where we started to enjoy cocktails together.
Yeah, a friend of mine forwarded on a Facebook post that they made that I missed out of town on a business trip. Wasn't really paying attention to socials like I usually do.
Yeah. Well, you got to pay attention to your work. You know, it takes a lot of concentration to sell all those drugs to school children. I don't know why I keep saying that. That's an awful thing to say.
I ended up basically taking the link and I put it in a message to Katie and just sent it to her. And her response back was, "Do you want another bourbon barrel for your birthday?" That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I reached out to West Bottoms and started corresponding back and forth and figuring out if they had any left, because it was
they had a
days
limited
after
amount.
They did, and it was a few days after they had posted it. So I'm like, man, they may not even have any.
Yeah.
And so I went down today, and yep, they had one. Cassandra was who I was corresponding with, and she was actually down in their parlor today, and so we got talking. And I told her, she's like, "What are you gonna? Just curiosity, what are you gonna do with this barrel?" And so I told her that we're kind of making them into mixing tables and that for the podcast that we've got started. And I was like, actually, and by the way, this whole brainchild really kind of got started, and the idea kind of jumped off the page, so to speak, when we were down here after a photo shoot for the band, and we started grilling you guys about your world's greatest old fashioned.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said I immediately went home with all the information that I had kind of locked away in my brain, went out to Amazon, found what I needed to, and I completely reverse engineered it, and I think I've got quite a good old fashioned now.
Did you have one while you were there?
I did not. I had to go back to work.
Come on.
I mean,
it's a drink.
I know.
What are they going to do? Fire you?
Well,
yeah, don't take that chance. It's probably not a good idea. Whiskey hits different than a beer on lunch.
Yeah. So we're going to while I was there, I had to pick up a couple bottles. So I picked up their standard Kansas City style whiskey.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great neat. It's great in a cocktail.
And then they just released a maple syrup cask finished rye whiskey.
Which sounds like dessert whiskey to me.
Yeah, and it's only available at their parlor.
Right.
So, they're distributing all over the place, so you can get their other bottle pretty much anywhere. But that particular one is only available at this time anyway in their parlor. And so I had to pick it up. Needed to add that. And we've got on the calendar in the near future, we're going to feature and do a review of West Bottom Whiskey Company. So we'll have two of them to taste and talk about, and I thought also
back to back
that's a great opportunity. Yeah, that's also a great opportunity for us to throw that old fashioned together.
Yeah,
and it's a Kansas City whiskey, so I think we have to do a KC Horsefeather.
A Horsefeather would be great. I've been making the shit out of them, but when I ran out of KC whiskey, I just started using whatever other bourbon I had, and I'd try it with some rye. Like I tried it with the Knob Creek rye. It's good. I think Knob Creek rye is better in an old fashioned. I still like it neat.
Yeah.
Because I like it neat. But so I even. Actually, I think it's good just with white label Jim Beam, but it's not the same. It's not a real Horsefeather.
Yeah, I haven't had it with the white label, but I've definitely had one or two with the Black Extra Age.
I was shocked at how good that was.
Yeah.
Like on the nose, on the palate, and the finish was everything I didn't expect.
And speaking of
Jim Beam, what the fuck?
Well, really? and speaking of
good.
Jim Beam, House Centauri offerings.
Yes.
I just got back from my trip in Vegas that I mentioned, and while out there, I ran across several things that were not in budget. But
especially after the vacation.
Right. Well.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I do still have several bottles from Kentucky that I haven't even opened yet.
Right.
Yeah, I've been looking for Booker's, and I stumbled upon it. They had it for a great price, way cheaper than I've seen it. I've only seen it once, maybe twice around in this area, and it's one of those I wish I would have just jumped on it and got it while I can, and I didn't, and then nothing. Since then, so I was excited. And Booker's is one of their single barrel small batch. Actually, I think all the Bookers are single barrel. Now that I think about it, but it's one of their higher end single barrel releases,
and it looks higher end. The box that it's in, it's got like a neck cradle in the box. It's waxed. Full neck wax. Yeah. It's got some kind of ribbon going on in there.
And it's 125 proof.
125.5 proof.
So it's going to say, "How do you do?"
Yeah. Yeah, the old man sitting on the rocking chair in the back or whatever with the cane on his lap. He's going to pull up a seat. We're going to listen to him talk about a thing or two.
Yes, sir.
Definitely looking forward to that. So I guess we just start.
Let's get this rolling.
Start. Yeah. Welcome, dear listener, and that's right. I said, dear listener, dear listener. I'll explain that here in a minute.
I hear there's a drinking game.
Right. Yeah. We'll get to that in just a minute, dear listener. But.
Dear listener,
wow, he's gonna be dead by now. As if dear listener hasn't figured out what the drinking game is by now. Thank you for listening to the Savor the Burn podcast on your podcast app of choice. Thank you for following us on all the socials, especially YouTube, where we are giving away a bar toolkit. It's very fantastic. Look it up. You'll see some information on that. All you got to do to win it, or to be eligible to win it, is subscribe to our YouTube channel. But thank you for following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, on the other places too. We've been reading your emails, you crazy bastards. Thank you for sending us emails. Definitely stay tuned on SavorTheBurn.com for all things Savor the Burn related. Check out the store. The Marvelous W2 has been hard at it with adding things into the shop. We've had some folks take advantage of some of the things in there, and we are definitely thankful for the little bit of commission that we get on the kickback. It looks like we have a very cool special bottle of American rye whiskey in front of us. What are you going to tell us about it, Mr. W2?
Well, for us and anyone else out there that loves the metal music, there's a birthday that we would like to celebrate, and we thought this would be a great bottle to crack open and use to celebrate Dimebag Darrel's birthday.
Yep. And if you haven't seen it, you can pre-order and or order anyway on Keg and Bottle.
Yep.
Keg and Bottle, I'm guessing.com.
And it looks like that's the only distributor that is carrying it and selling it.
Yeah, I saw, I think maybe the first time I saw it was an Instagram post that his girlfriend, lifetime, whatever, girlfriend Rita had posted. She was at a music festival, maybe Sick New World, something, I'm not sure, but she posted a bottle of it, and so I commented on there. I'm like, I have to have this bottle, like several of these bottles, like where can we get this? And so she responded, right now Keg and Bottle is the place to get it. I hopped my happy ass on there and went over there and I bought it like immediately. I was on lunch. I had to do it because it's Dimebag.
Right. And so this is the Black Tooth American Rye Whiskey, and as of today they have that listed for $70, $69.99.
Yeah, that's about what I paid for it.
Okay.
And shipping was extra, but I didn't care. I had to have it.
Yeah, and I was hard pressed to find really any information aside from what they the little bit that they did have on.
Right, there's not a lot.
The, what did you say?
Keg and bottle.
Keg and bottle. So yeah, it is a 7-year American rye whiskey. It comes in at 80 proof. That's pretty low for a rye, I feel.
It is, especially some of the ryes that we've been trying.
Yeah. I think most of the ryes we've been trying have been 90 plus, and we've had a couple that have been 110.
And I
range.
think, I never met him. I always wanted to, and I always wanted to hang out with him for like maybe half a day before I went crazy. But I think 80 proof, he would have loved 80 proof because it's, tavern strength. And
and nothing against lower proof whiskeys. If anything, a lower proof whiskeys is going to make it a lot easier to be your daily drinker.
Yeah, daily drinker and in a lower proof cocktail. Not everybody likes a high proof cocktail. They just want a whiskey and Coke. And since he was a huge fan of Motorhead and Lemmy always drank Jack and Coke.
Right.
So I'm sure he would have loved to try to talk Lemmy into switching over. Like, hey, brother, switch from Jack Daniels over here to my Black Tooth. Rye. Get your pull. That's the best I can. That's the best time I can do. If you're a fan of Dimebag, you know how he spoke Dimebonics, which was just a fucking weird language that he came up with.
That and they're Texas boys.
Arlington, Dallas, Fort Worth. So what you got on the nose?
Yeah, it's with all the ones we've done so far. I try to do homework and I try to kind of prep before we do all the review, and so
wow, the notes are blank.
The notes are blank. With just about everything else that we've tried, I've been able to find something published online that we can kind of use as a reference. And as we're reviewing this, we're trying to come to a consensus of what we're smelling, tasting, etc. But it's also nice to see what others have kind of said about it and kind of gauge and bounce that off of our own senses. This one I found nothing, so yeah, my notes are blank on this one. So that said,
on the notes I put down medium amber because as you were pouring it, I thought, well, that's kind of a light to medium amber.
Yep, we've done several recently that are more of the medium to deep amber, and this one is definitely a little on the lighter side.
Yeah,
we've got a 7-year age on it.
Yeah,
so 7 years is a pretty solid age, but it probably also contributes to it being a little bit on the lighter side.
Yeah.
Than if it was a 12-year.
I'm getting like a lightly sweet caramel and vanilla on the nose.
I was gonna say immediately there's.
And it's almost like water.
Yeah, there's definitely.
I don't know how you can smell water though, so I don't know. I might be way off on that.
No, I'm kind of tracking right there with you. There's an obvious caramel right on the immediate nose on this, but it's not a full rich caramel that we have gotten on so many other ones.
Right.
It's more of a caramel flavor than caramel itself, if that makes any sense. It's a very subtle caramel.
Yeah. With it being a rye, I expected there to be some kind of spice.
Yeah. There's really not any spice. And I think what you're describing as kind of water on there, is it kind of a cleaning product, kind of a, not a floral-y kind of a disinfectant kind of a smell, but
like quarter power Windex.
But it's kind of a like a sanitized. Yeah, I mean it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Let's get some on the palate here. See what we think. Getting a little burn on that one.
Yep, there's a little bit
right before the finish comes in.
For an 80 proof, that actually is a lot of burn.
Yeah,
definitely some oak on that.
Some oakiness. There's even a little bit of that spicy. Oh hell, what was it? The not licorice. If we said it had like a grass flavor, it was.
You know what?
It wasn't hops. It was.
No, now that you say the grass, I think that's kind of what I'm getting on the nose. It's kind of a grassy saddlewood kind of a aroma,
and even further down on the palate, it's like peach, or on the finish. Yeah, there's peach. Wow, put that down here, peach.
I would also say that on the palate, I feel like the subtle little bit of caramel that was on the nose becomes more of that burnt sugar that we've picked up on a couple of them,
and it's got some sweetness to it. I hate to say, is there water on the palate too?
Maybe is that part of knowing with what we talked about and learned with the Mitchters, is this 80 proof because they're cutting it way down to get more out of it?
Very well could be.
Which, I mean, if that's the case...
Because they had to know that demand is going to be stupid high right off the bat.
I mean, if that's the case, it could be the dilution water that we're actually picking up.
Yeah, like you said, there's no real notes on it anywhere that says anything about cold filtration or anything. It says, did your notes have what's written on the back of the bottle?
What is written here is what I pulled off of the keg and bottle.
Okay.
It says... Discover Black Tooth Grin, an extraordinary American rye whiskey by Rita Haney and Dimebag Darrel. This bold spirit pays homage to the legendary band, delivering a captivating fusion of smooth rye, smoky undertones, and hints of caramel. With its iconic label design, Black Tooth Grin is a collector's item and a must-have for whiskey enthusiasts and fans alike. Experience the intense flavors and unyielding spirit of rock and roll with Black Tooth Grin.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with intense flavors.
No, I definitely don't. It feels like all the flavors in here have been dialed back.
Yeah.
Intentionally. And I don't fully understand why, unless there's a fuller-bodied version coming in the future, which I will be happy to snatch that up
Sure.
too. But if it's...
this has a cask strength, maybe a completely different animal.
Yeah, I would have every expectation that it would be.
Yeah.
It says here on the back of the bottle, on the label here, Black Tooth American Rye Whiskey was created to honor the legendary metal power groove icon, Dimebag Darrel, and his infamous drinkable legacy, Black Tooth Grin, a concoction of whiskey and cola that became the notorious cocktail of choice when in the presence of Dimebag, often accompanied by the phrase, drink it or wear it. We now offer you our standalone Black Tooth American Rye Whiskey to drink in his spirit with 7-year smoothness, and it is smooth, except for that bite that gets you right before the finish comes. Sure to delight and satisfy even the most discerning whiskey connoisseurs. And it's got his signature there in his silhouette. How cool would it have been to have his bottle and go to a meet and greet and a signing and have him sign the fucking bottle? Like, these fucking assholes that that do dumb shit.
Yep.
But
yeah, we had the opportunity to have a actual Black Tooth Grin not that long ago.
Yeah, and boy, howdy, was that fun.
That was a lot of fun. Our buddy Mitch came over, and we shouldn't have been surprised.
No.
We invited him over. He knew that we had it planned out. We did Metallica's Blackened that night. We did Slipknot's Number 9 Reserve that night. And he shows up prepped and ready to go on his own agenda. Yeah. And he started us off that night with, we were celebrating metal and whiskey and all that. And he appropriately came prepared and jump-started us with a Black Tooth Grin.
Yeah, it's almost like he said, oh, you've got a metal night? Okay, and it's got whiskey. Okay, and we're not having Black Tooth Grin.
Right.
So yeah, he came over with Seagram 7, some Crown Royal, and a tiny little splash of Coke, and it was rock and roll from that point forward.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and cue that up and.
Yeah. Bring it up. Hit play on that.
Let's do it. Here we go.
What were you gonna say? Looked like you were about ready to say.
Oh yeah, I was about to say. We got to fire off with the first cocktail that I brought.
We'll do it.
Okay.
You want to start us off with a Black Tooth Grin?
Yes, indeed. Only reason because I already know these other cocktails because I've seen Wayne. He's a hell of a mixologist. And I know these cocktails are gonna, they're gonna be good. And I'm not saying a Black Tooth Grin is not good, but I think when you start there,
it's an industry standard cocktail for a metalhead.
It's Dimebag Darrel's.
You had the Jack and Coke from Lemmy.
Yep.
So you've got the Black Tooth Grin from Dime.
I don't even know there's much Coke involved with Lemmy. So have you ever heard the conversations about
I'm sure there was Coke involved.
Actually, that's probably methamphetamine.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah.
But with Lemmy, it was high. It was good. For whatever him, it was probably way better. Anyway, that's not the point.
It wasn't.
I love what Zach Wilde said. He says, "Have you ever had a Jack with Lemmy?" He says when you have a Jack with Lemmy, he says he opens the bottle and hands it to you, and then he opens one for him. I don't think there's a lot of coke involved.
Right. Maybe it's a chaser after your second bottle.
It's the palate cleanser.
Yep. For sure.
All right. Well, we're going to take a pause, and we'll be back with some cocktails.
Let's do it. Sometimes I forget which fucking side these headphones go on.
R goes on the right side.
Right. I was thinking I was wearing them backwards earlier because I'm kind of dumb sometimes. I'd be drinking that dumb juice
every day.
We just sat down here with Mitch. Sorry, I don't know why I almost called you Mick. It must be that Irish in you. You said you got an Irish liver?
In Pecker, too.
So, in honor of Dimebag's birthday, August 20th, 1966, we have gathered here today around the Savor the Burn cocktail table to enjoy a Black Tooth Grin. Tell us what's in it.
Pretty simple. So, you got to have your Crown Royal.
Crown Royal.
Just basic ass Crown Royal.
Yep.
And then you got to have Seagram 7.
Yes, sir.
Which is made by Crown Royal, has the crown on it, but it's considered an American blended whiskey. Even though it's a subsidiary company, you cannot find it in the Canadian section. You'll find it in the American whiskey section.
Uh-huh. Well, it says American right there on the bottle.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
But it has the crown.
It does.
Crown Royal.
That's really weird. I never noticed that until you said something. I was like, what?
Right.
This motherfucker crazy. And then I look over and there
so
it is.
Basically, it is the American version of Crown Royal, right?
It must be.
And then you just need a little bit of ice.
Yeah.
It might have put too much.
Might have put too much, but that's all right.
But it's okay. And then you need just an absolute little tiny splash of Coke.
Splash.
Absolutely a splash. Just enough to color it.
Yeah.
And there you have a Black Tooth Grin.
And we're in the midst of somebody that's never had this before.
Yep.
Mr. W2. What are your thoughts on this sumbitch?
It's good. It's
unexpectedly good.
It is unexpectedly good. I think the splash of Coke kind of gives it a vanilla-y kind of a flavor to it.
Right.
Yeah, whatever the Crown Royal has as far as vanilla goes, it's like you can't really. It's not forward, but yeah, you get it from the Coke for sure. It's definitely good.
I tell you what, this tastes a world better than warm Seagram 7 at 7 a.m.
This sounds like a story.
Well, I know this story.
This drink is way better than that warm Seagram 7.
Oh, yeah.
At 7 in the morning.
This one's got the spirit of Dimebag in it.
Yep, absolutely. And honestly, a lot of ice, which really watered it down a bunch. Yeah. But overall, okay, let's take two really moderate to cheap whiskeys, and let's blend it with just a touch of Coke and add it, in with a little bit of ice and water. And so now you woke up all these flavors. This is
and we
super
stirred
smooth
it to not anger these spirits.
Right. Don't want to anger Dimebag.
It is just super smooth and easy.
Yeah.
Like this is your hanging out on the back porch grilling with your buddies.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Easy drinking is an understatement.
Music's cranked.
Right.
You got meat of some kind, whether it be fish.
Right.
Or fowl.
Yeah.
Or quadruped of some sort.
I'm all about the quadruped.
Yeah.
There you go. Look, it's been a minute since we've done a cocktail, so. Just saying, there's always fillers.
I love these mics.
Yes. So once again, thank you for listening to Savor the Burn, and let's give it the clink. Glasses empty or not. Happy birthday, Dimebag.
Happy birthday, Dimebag.
Cheers. Happy birthday.
Love me some fucking Dimebag.
Oh, man.
That was good.
That was a good time.
That was good. Mitch is a hell of a guy. Nobody can tell a story like Mitch can.
So while we were sitting here reminiscing and listening to that again, I did just a quick little look up, and the reason, so Crown and Seagrams are both made by Diageo.
Okay.
Which is actually they're an international company.
Okay.
But I was trying to wrap my head around So a Canadian distillery is making American...
Right. Or is it American making Canadian?
Right. Diageo is the international company. They own a lot. Back in my ad agency days, we did a handful of things with Diageo. But anyway, they are an international company. They have brands all over the world. They have Crown Royal. They have Seagram 7. So that is kind of how that all plays together with that. But yeah, that was a great time. I had never had a official Black Tooth Grin until that, and it was the appropriate time. Great friends, experiencing a new drink. You know, over the years, definitely my younger years more so than as of recent, I've had my fair share of Crown. I've had my fair share of Seagram 7.
Yeah.
You know, it's dirt cheap and it'll get you drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Not what you go to when you're looking for a flavor or looking to pick apart and talk about different notes and whatnot on there. But I was very surprised at mixing them together and then splashing. And actually, so the one that we made was we just did a splash of Coke on there. But I've gone back this week and kind of cross-referenced a couple different sites that actually have official recipes for the Black Tooth Grin.
Okay.
Every site, every recipe that I found said it's actual equal parts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
so it's not a splash of Coke. And one of the sites I found actually had a step-by-step little video clips.
Yeah.
And so they did
of Dime doing it.
Not Dime doing it, but just recreating the Black Tooth Grin. And this one site, I might have to find the link and share it with you and listeners and all that. But it was pretty cool. But they did, and I forget what the measurements were, but it was equal parts for all three, but they did Crown, they did Coke, they stirred it, and then they topped it with the Seagram 7 at the end of it. So the Coke was kind of the middle man in this, and I don't know if that makes a difference in adding it in there because they also gave it another stir when they were done with that. But the equal parts made it a black as night drink, which speaks to the name Black Tooth Grin a little bit. And so, but the way we mixed it up, it was fantastic. And I was surprised at how good it actually tasted. It was a very easy drinking cocktail.
Yeah, it was easier than it should have been.
Yeah.
That's the way the Black Tooth Grin goes.
Yeah, and that's how we started. And so that night ended up being a whirlwind of good times.
And you know, when bringing that back to the Black Tooth American Rye Whiskey, I believe that would sum up this offering that we had before us here. I believe this rye whiskey was designed for family and friends gathering for mixed drinks and for sharing good times.
You know, it's
and telling stories because it's not too strong to where you're going to forget the story.
You know, as we've kind of dug into this adventure and really started to kind of picking apart different whiskeys and cocktails and learning others saying and suggesting for your cocktails going the higher proofs and then just naturally the more and more we get into this, our preferences have kind of escalated a little bit, and
I changed a little bit.
I think I speak for both of us. I definitely speak for myself. As I find myself really enjoying higher proofed whiskeys now more so than I used to. But a bottle like this that's 80 proof.
For those of you listening, W2 here, he just got himself a new cat. Well, new to him cat. He looks like he's been around for a while.
And he is pitch black.
Black.
Not another color anywhere on him. And so
his name was Clyde.
Yeah, his name was Clyde, but we have renamed him to Ozzy because he's Prince of Darkness.
Prince of Darkness.
But those higher proof whiskeys are not for everyone. And they're never going to be for everyone.
Nope.
A lower proof whiskey, to your point, just makes it a lot more accessible and
more palatable to
and
everybody.
Yep. Pass the bottle around, get everyone involved, and let everyone just enjoy and have a good time with it.
Well, for our homemade tasting notes, on my side, I put down medium amber for appearance / color. On nose, I put lightly sweet with caramel and vanilla. The flavor taste palette, I said oaky. Caramel. It's got a burnt kind of browned sugar taste to it. Light smoke and a hint of rye right before the finish.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as I was kind of reading through the description, I actually could pick up a little bit of a smokiness on the palate.
And for the finish, I said lingering sweetness with peach and rye spice. So that's where I'm at with that. I
agree with all that.
So I posted the bottle. The pictures that you'll see on our socials, the pictures that you took. And I posted those in a couple of groups, the Whiskey Guild and one of the Time Suck podcast-related groups that I'm in called Time Suck Metalheads. And I said, any of my fellow metalheads in here try this Black Tooth Rye yet? And nobody has. Nobody's tried it.
Okay.
But one of the, I do have a... from the Time Suck Metalheads group, I have a comment from Aaron. He says, I still have the cup that Dimebag gave me full of Black Tooth Grin when I seen Pantera during the 101 Proof tour.
Nice.
I bet that would have been a great tour to see. I'm sure all of them would have been a great tour to see, but unfortunately I never saw them live. I was going to see Damage Plan. They were 2 stops away before Nathan Gale did what he did on December 8th, but yeah, I was definitely looking forward to it. Anytime I was getting ready to get myself into trouble, I would stop myself and ask myself, what would Dimebag do? I can't say it always led to the best decision, but it was definitely a lot of fun. So you agreed with my tasting notes? Is that what you had written down?
I did.
Something similar?
Yep.
Well, on the rating, we'll get to that then. On the rating, on the nose, I gave it a 3.
Okay.
Because it was, about average. It's kind of what I expected it to be for an 80 proof. Even though it's 7-year, I expected more of a full depth to those notes in the tasting, but it's 80 proof, so I knew it had to have been cut.
Yeah.
On palate, I gave that another 3. It's it's pretty much average, but maybe a little bit better. Well, the finish, again, average, a little bit better than average, so 3.5.
Okay.
Because I picked out the peach in it, and I'm a sucker for peach. I love peach, and I also love rye, and it's got a lingering sweetness that I like as well. So that's why I gave it 3.5. It didn't wow me. Nothing about the bottle and nothing about the tasting tonight of it wowed me, but I did like it.
Yeah.
So that's why it ended up with same thing with the bottle presentation. I gave that a 3 as well because it's just basic as hell. It's your your average shouldered whiskey bottle. It does have what is this, a composite cork on here?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not like Jim Beam, which is the white plastic cap, or whatever. It's the plastic
or Weller
cap.
with the aluminum screw-off cap.
Right. Who saw that coming? But it's so that gave me a total divided by 2 for a 6.25 rating.
Okay. Well, I gave it a 2 3/4 for the nose.
Okay.
So better than average. I probably could have bumped that one up to 3 easily. There was a very obvious caramel and vanilla on the nose.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat. For a rye, though, their palate and nose both really no spice to it. I'm kind of curious as to what the mash bill on this really is because
they'll probably tell us a lot.
I don't feel like there is a lot. I mean, it is classified as a rye whiskey, so it has to have a, I guess it would be 51% rye.
Just like a bourbon has to be 51% corn.
Right. So it's just, you just don't pick up on it.
Especially not on the nose.
Yeah. I gave the palate also a 2 3/4. It's better than average. Very smooth, very easy to drink.
It is.
Just nothing wow about it. And I completely agree with you. There's something that's kind of reminiscent of a watered down kind of a quality to it. When we were doing the Navigator with Chandler, he commented on it having a water taste on the palate, and I feel like this one also kind of shares that same type of characteristic. I enjoyed the finish on it. I gave it a 3, so we're a little bit better than average. A little bit of a burn, which I was not expecting out of an 80 proof whiskey, but it had a nice smooth burn. It didn't scald you or leave you gasping for a drink of something else.
On first taste, the burn hits you hard.
You think so?
It hits you harder than you know, second and third.
But with it being a long finish, and I felt it had a long finish, that burn just kind of slowly tapered off. And so as it's tapering off, I was able to appreciate it a little bit more. So I gave the finish a 3. And, you know, the presentation, the label itself, I think is kind of cool. I appreciate the integration of the V guitar, the Dean headstock, that is kind of cut and protruding out of the top of the label, and that I think that's pretty cool. And I think it's cool that it's got a signature and a little silhouette on the back side of it. But the packaging is just very generic, very basic. I gave it just a straight 2.5, just average.
Right there in the middle.
And added all that together and divided, left me with an overall of 5.5.
So right at average, but maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. It's not great, and it's definitely not bad. It's right there in the middle, in the Goldilocks zone.
You know, and like we talked about when we first started kind of doing this new rating system where we're actually picking apart and doing a little bit of math to come up with that number instead of just throwing something out there. This is one that I feel that I probably would have easily given it a 6.5 if I would have just thrown a number out there.
That's right at the number I would have given it.
So,
like 6.5, maybe 7.
Yeah. So picking it apart and being a little bit more critical about the individual facets of this brought it down to a 5.5. I
might have just given it a 7, but that water part of it, like on the palate and on the nose, even that was wild. Yeah. But that would have made me tap the brakes and bring it back.
Yeah. All that said, I feel like there are enough good solid flavors on this that I'm still excited and I'm still very confident this is going to make a great cocktail.
So I have it written down here with plenty of unexpected flavor. This tavern strength Black Tooth American Rye Whiskey will please the palate of the connoisseur and the average Joe alike. At 80 proof, you can easily drink it straight with friends and or mix it into a simple cocktail.
I like it.
I feel like it needs like another sentence in that summation. I think that does the job.
Oh.
I think Dime would like that. I didn't know him personally, but I think he just wants you to fucking drink it.
Or wear it.
Or drink it or fucking wear it. And that's what we did tonight. We drank it neat, and we celebrated the life and the legacy of Dimebag Darrel. And dear listener, if you're a metalhead, which I hope you are, but if you're not, change your mind. If you knew Dimebag in any way, please feel free to send us a message at savortheburn.com. Email us at info@savortheburn.com. Email me personally, Jonathan at savortheburn.com, or Wayne W2 at savortheburn.com. Definitely check us out on our socials, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and most especially YouTube, where your subscription enters you in a chance to win a bar tool cocktail set that we're really looking forward to giving away. We know that we're going to make somebody's day doing that. And always check out savortheburn.com. W2 is always expanding in the shop section, and the cocktails, and in the liquor cabinet, where you're going to find a nice picture of the Black Tooth American Rye Whiskey. And we'll definitely include a link to where you can find it at the Keg and Bottle website. And I think that pretty much sums it up. Yeah. W2, do you have anything to add?
No, this was fun.
It was fun.
I think this was a great addition to our Rock Tales.
Yeah.
And we got a couple cocktails out of it.
Yes, we did. So it's time to wrap this episode, isn't it? So, dear listener, you're probably fucking dead drunk by now, ain't you, Carlo? No matter who you are, or what you're doing, or where you are, what you're drinking, who you're with, no matter what, always remember to keep on burning.